It's now officially Tuesday, November 8th.
Which means it's Election Day, and polls have officially closed here in Warren County.
And we'll have election results throughout the night as they come in.
And a couple sprinkles did fall on voters' heads as they went out this morning. More rain in the forecast. I'll have more coming up in your new Channel 12 forecast.
Channel 12 live at 6, where commitment makes the difference.
Thanks for joining us tonight on News Channel 12. I'm Karen Isert.
And I'm Darby Bean. Donald Trump spent last night rallying voters in 5 states. Yesterday, the Republican presidential nominee spoke with voters in Iowa, Virginia, Minnesota, Pennsylvania, and Michigan. During the rallies, Trump discussed how the American working class will strike back. During the rallies, he was confident in the election.
It's hard to believe. We started a year and a half ago. We started with 17 very talented people. Now we have one flawed candidate left to beat.
Later on in the speech, Trump discussed support coming from NFL football player Tom Brady, although Brady has not publicly endorsed the presidential nominee.
And throughout the day, many Americans casted their votes for the election, including Hillary Clinton. This morning, the president nominee voted in her hometown of New York. A smiling Clinton emerged from the polling station holding her husband's hand as they were greeted by a crowd of more than 100 supporters. Clinton says voting with her friends and family made her very happy.
It is the most humbling feeling, Dan, because, I know how much responsibility goes with this, and so many people are counting on the outcome of this election, what it means for our country, and I'll do the very best I can if I'm fortunate enough to win today.
Anything you're worried about? Along with Hillary Clinton, millions turned out for the polls today and many voted early. According to Politico's website, more than 46 million cast their vote in advance, breaking many state records and outperforming the 2012 turnout. Politico reports women are dominating the early election voting in the final days. African Americans and Latinos are also showing big numbers at the polls.
And now Lexi Ratterman joins us to talk more about numbers this election.
Thanks, Karen and Darby. Predicting the election, you've probably heard of people doing it, but the most reliable predictions come from math. I sat down with Matt Foraker, who explained how 2 websites statistically predict the outcome of the presidential election.
Person, or in this case, a website, wants to analyze an election. First, you have to understand how a candidate wins an election.
So a person doesn't become president by winning the popular vote. A person becomes president by being able to count to 270. And by 270, I mean the votes in the Electoral College. And the way that those add up is that each state in the country has a certain amount of electoral votes based on the population of that state. So the way that a person becomes president is they win enough states so that the sum of those Electoral College votes reaches 270.
These websites, Real Clear Politics and 538, take into account multiple polls and sum them together to create a likely prediction. With all of the different data, the websites can be as specific as predicting each individual state's outcome.
So let's take a look at Kentucky. As you can see, Kentucky's a red state, and it hasn't varied a whole lot over time, but it's actually gotten stronger for Trump as opposed to weaker. I mean, it dipped a little bit, but it really does look likely that Donald Trump will win Kentucky.
But perhaps the most interesting part is on 538's website. You can see how each candidate's chance of winning has changed since June 8th.
You can see Clinton declining and Trump increasing until they're really basically even. Trump was actually a little bit up for a minute there. And then what happened at that moment was the conventions. And it was right after Trump clashed with the parents of a Muslim soldier. That happened on that day. And immediately you can see that as a result of the Democratic convention and what happened the week after that, Clinton really climbed into a very, very strong position, an 87% likelihood. That's almost the strongest I've ever seen. That is a huge lead.
These websites update every single day, and to start out today, 538's website had Clinton at a 71.4% chance of winning the election, while Trump had a 28.6% chance of winning. By the end of tonight, we should know how accurate these websites really are.
All right, thanks, Lexi. And one thing on the line this election season, control of the Senate. Republicans currently have a 54 to 46 majority. Democrats in North Carolina and Missouri are seeking to replace the Republican incumbents. Senate races are also extremely close in half a dozen other states, any which could determine who gets the Senate majority.
And as polls are closing and votes are being counted, I wanted to step back and take a look at the work that goes into preparing for Election Day. Last week, I was able to sit down with Warren County Clerk Lynette Yates to discuss numbers and processes behind the votes. She told me her day would start around 4:30 this morning, as well as for much of her office staff, and it probably won't end until 10:30 or 11 tonight. Large numbers of Warren County residents are registered to vote in the 2016 election.
We have 80,439.
Without pausing or looking at notes, she has the number memorized.
We've put in a lot of overtime. Our online registrations, there were just so many that we had to work several nights to get everything into the state system so everyone would be allowed to vote on Election Day.
But what are the chances of all 80,000 registered voters actually showing up at the polls?
The last election, which was the gubernatorial election, we had like a 19% turnout. Our last presidential, we had an over 50% turnout. I may be completely wrong. From the interest that I've seen just in the absentee, I feel like we're going to have at least a 60% or more turnout.
Much of that turnout may be based on social media, which has played such a large role in this election.
Especially with college students now, with Twitter and Facebook and everything, that they can get more in tune with what's going on. And of course, this to me has not been a normal election as far as with our candidates. And what has been put out, that hasn't been accessed in past elections. And now that's just another means for them to use to reach out to people. So I think it's made a tremendous difference.
And she's reminding people it's not just the presidential seat at stake.
There's a lot of down ballot races that people need to be interested in as well. If you're even considering the presidential, if you're saying I'm not pleased with those candidates, this is your only time to let your voice be heard. We need to be able to get out and vote. You can't say, I don't want to vote because I don't like them. That's not right. This is our chance, and this is your opportunity. And people have fought for us to have that opportunity, and we don't need to take it lightly. We need to get out and vote.
There are 88 precincts in Warren County located within 49 different locations. As of last week, the clerk's office had over 1,100 people vote absentee early who would be out of the county today.
And now we have Alex Williams, who's going to join us for our next look at weather. Alex, it was a little bit of a rainy morning. Tell me more about how it went today.
Yes, it actually did have water drops falling from the sky, hitting us on the head. That's called rain, by the way. We haven't seen it in a while, but it definitely did fall. PFT cam looking live across campus right now. Pretty quiet, mostly cloudy skies with the rain that did press its way through. We'll hold on to those cloudy skies overnight and mainly into tomorrow daybreak. Then we'll get rid of the clouds as we have some nicer weather really building back in. And definitely the dry weather that has been plaguing us has sparked many wildfires across the states, eastern Kentucky and eastern Tennessee. Smoky Mountains have definitely been ablaze. More rain on the way. I'll have more on that a little bit later on. Ladies?
Right, and now Marcus is going to join us next with a little bit more of how this election's going. Marcus, tell me how things have been.
Well, folks, tell you what, just a few minutes ago, there weren't any electoral college votes on the board, but guess what? That has changed. 3 states now are final. Those states include Kentucky and Indiana, Kentucky of which has 8 electoral college votes, and Indiana with 11. So now Trump stands at 19 votes compared to Vermont, which was won for Hillary Clinton at 3 votes. To break it down for you as far as stats go, 62%, which was 187,000 votes, was won for Indiana for Trump. 65%, which includes 137 votes for Kentucky. So definitely things are very close right now, and I expect, despite Hillary only getting the 1 vote, 1 state won, she'll get it here soon. But for more continuous updates throughout the show and after, check WKU News 12 on Twitter for all election results.
All right, thank you for that update, Marcus. Next, we've got some more people giving us some more updates at the Democrat and Republican headquarters.
Welcome back to the News Channel 12 election show.
Polls have just closed a little over 10 minutes ago in Bowling Green. In a few minutes, we'll have Katie Cook with some more election results.
And volunteers helped get students ready for the polls today. WKU students gave rides to the polls so that other students could vote. Most of the drivers were volunteers, while there were also members from the Student Government Association offering a ride. Each car had a set of rules. The main rule, no political talk. This was nonpartisan, meaning no influence was made for who to vote for during the ride. Passengers and potential passengers were encouraged to go to the polls and cast their vote. Drivers took students to two separate polling locations, McNeil Elementary School and the Bowling Green Towers.
And now let's head out to Danny Vessels. She is live in Warren County for the Republican headquarters. Danny? And we apologize for that technical difficulties. We'll have Danny right back up here in a moment. Now, as the race for Senate comes to a close, two opposing Senator rally last-minute voters. Yesterday, Republican Senator Rand Paul and Democrat challenger Jim Gray toured the state's largest media markets in Lexington. Paul predicted a big year for conservatives because Kentuckians are, quote, sick and tired of a big government. In Louisville, Gray said people are, quote, exhausted with the gridlock and dysfunction. And again, we apologize for that technical difficulty. We have Danny now ready at the Republican headquarters. Danny, how are things looking?
All right, we are here tonight. It's exciting. There's excitement in the air. We've got a pretty decent crowd out tonight. And in this crowd, we've got Congressman Brett Guthrie. We're waiting on Senator Mike Wilson. And we might possibly have Melinda Hill here tonight. We are just excited to be here. And Scott Ladsley, the chairman of the Republican Party, he told us that they're focused locally on this, but they're definitely looking at the national polls too. So we're excited to see what's going on tonight. We'll just have to wait and see what the results turn out to be. And back to you guys.
Thanks for that report, Danny. Opinions on the presidential election are spread across the board this year, and almost everyone has one, even those who can't vote. Reporter Dagny Hamilton spoke with an international student at WKU to find out his thoughts about the presidential candidates.
My name is Omar Atia, and I'm from Cairo, Egypt, and I'm an international affairs major, and I'm minoring in political science. Honestly, for these elections, they're a little bit the most odd from all the presidential elections that have occurred here in the U.S. It's really difficult to choose who you want to, because both candidates in these elections have had problems. And for me, Hillary Clinton, with her foreign relations and what happened in Libya, it's something that I wouldn't give her my vote. And for Donald Trump, because I'm Egyptian, and Egyptians are Africans and Arabs and Muslims, so I also fear a little bit because of what he says. Just do whatever you think is right for you and for your country.
Make you a Martin, darling. Okay.
International students aren't the only group with opinions on today's election. Many high school students haven't yet met the age requirement to vote, but that doesn't mean they aren't following the candidates and forming opinions of their own.
WKU reporter Alyssa Kendrick visited a local Bowling Green high school to see how students are preparing for this election.
Ms. Gosnell teaches an AP U.S. government class to sophomores at Warren Central High School. But just because her students are not of age to vote didn't stop her from making sure they were involved in the election process.
Students have obviously researched the candidates. They've watched the debate. We've also went through and discussed debate topics, interesting topics that support each party's platform.
Just days before the election, she put their knowledge to the test and had them create campaign ads for school officials that they think would make a good president.
I support increased school funding. I also support a balanced and healthy but tasty diet. So we want our food to be tasty.
An exercise that helped take some of the stress off the election and put some of the power back into their hands.
Following the presidential elections and how they work and the different campaigning that's involved really tells us what all could end up happening whenever we get to that age and whenever we're out there voting.
If everybody was civically aware of what they needed to be doing to help build a strong community, then we would see our community growing.
For News Channel 12, I'm Melissa Kendrick.
Ms. Gosnell said she also keeps her students up to date on many local officials running for office.
And now Katie Cook joins us to give us some updates on election results that are in so far.
Thank you, Darby. Now, as Marcus said, Kentucky and Indiana have their votes in. Donald Trump still stands at 66% in the lead. Indiana, with Donald Trump in the lead as well, 61%. Hillary Clinton came in 29% in Kentucky and 35% in Indiana. And switching gears to take a look at the running for state senator, Bowling Green resident Rand Paul has won 60% in Kentucky for state senator. And to keep up with the show when Marcus and I aren't giving results, head to our news feed at newschannel12.com. Back to you guys.
And now, thank you for that, Katie. Coming up, Alex Williams joins us and let us know what we can expect for the rest of the weekend weather.
Well, Darby and them were talking about the rain. It doesn't register here, and that is because the weather or the instruments that measured here are actually at the airport, not here on campus. So we did get some rain here on campus, and mark my words, we did, but it is not showing up here. For the month, we're at 0 still, so very, very dry weather, and that doesn't help with all the wildfires that are burning across the state of Kentucky and East Tennessee. And that dry weather, we just really need to snap in, and we just haven't been able to get the rain that we needed. Speaking of temperatures, though, we're right on average, 63 degrees. Our low, a little bit above average, a little bit of that cloud cover helping us keep us above average there, but not too far above average, just about right time. It definitely has been very warm, though, for the month of November, and that change has definitely come through as cold front has pressed through the area today, bringing that first round of showery weather that pushed through. There might be another rain tonight after that front does push through, but the Canadian high will be building in, bringing us cooler temperatures. Now, we're not talking 40s or 30s, but some cooler temperatures definitely in store. And for this evening, 24 hour, again, that rain will be ending early, later on tonight, and then by daybreak, it should be definitely out. Tonight, 45 degrees with those showers again ending late. Tomorrow, 59, so cool, bring a jacket, but we're expecting mostly cloudy skies with some sun peeking out later on. And for the next 7 days, well, dare I say it, we started off cool, but look at the end of the week. We are getting up into the upper 60s to low 70s again. So guys, not much of a break for weather, unfortunately.
Now, thanks for that, Alex. Now, I'm glad to hear that we've got some warm weather coming in because I don't like to see that.
I got rained on going to the polls today.
Now, Marcus Browning joins us here with a little more update on today's election. Marcus?
Now, while the Electoral College votes would still stand at 19-3 in favor of Donald Trump, those haven't changed, but a couple of states have came up, and literally just not 1 minute ago, Florida, which has 29 Electoral College votes on the line here, went from being in favor of Hillary Clinton to Donald Trump, showing 50% for Donald Trump and 47% for Hillary Clinton. Another one with that, Virginia, with 13 Electoral College votes, 52% showing for Donald Trump, 43% with Hillary Clinton. Now, just to show you popular vote before I get out of here, Donald Trump showing 55% of total popular vote, Hillary Clinton with 41%, and Gary Johnson coming in with 3%. As always, to keep up with more results, keep up with our News Channel 12 election coverage on Twitter and Facebook.
Thank you, Marcus. And now Will Puckett is joining us live at the Warren County Democratic headquarters.
Okay, guys, over here at the Warren County Democratic offices where their watch party is just starting to get underway. More people have been coming in by the hour. Now, a couple of races that this office has been watching closely is the Rand Paul versus former Lexington Senator Jim Gray. We do have reports that just call that in favor of Rand Paul, however, Marcus will give you more on that later. Another race that they were watching was Jody Richards versus Republican Melinda Hill. Jody Richards had held that spot for 39 years. That was a really highly contested battle as it was to the Kentucky House, rather, was the only Democratic held house in the South. Now, the most important thing about this election, what everybody in this office is hoping, how important it is to get these elections right. Not only the national presidential election, but the election here in Kentucky, as they won't have one in 2017. Live from the Warren County Democratic Party offices, Will Puckett, News Channel 12.
Thanks, Will. When we come back, we'll have one more look at those election results.
And voting isn't quite over for every state. Find out which ones are still heading to the polls. There has been at least one national case of voter fraud in the election so far. A man in California stole the absentee ballot of another registered voter and mailed it in as his own. Concerns of voter fraud are also on the minds of Kentucky politicians. According to the WHOP, Attorney General Andy Beshear is encouraging Kentuckians to watch and report for any suspicious behavior at polling stations.
And they also monitor polling locations so that Kentuckians can be sure that their vote counts and it's not watered down by improper voting, and that we have a clean and fair election.
Beshear said he'll have investigators spread out across Kentucky today and to investigate claims and monitor polling locations.
Now, just because voting is finished in Warren County, that doesn't mean it's finished everywhere across the country. Some states aren't done yet. States in Mountain and Pacific time zones are still voting. That means California, a state with a large amount of electoral college votes, is still busy at the polls. It will actually be around 10 p.m. Central Time before those polls close in California. Nevada and Arizona are also important in this election. They too will not be done until later in the evening. And now Katie Cook joins us for some more election results. What do you have for us, Katie?
Thank you, Darby. Taking one final look at our election show today at our results. Just a little recap. Donald Trump is in the lead in Kentucky and Indiana, and they have submitted their votes. It has changed a little bit, though, since Marcus and I's last update. Kentucky is now at 64% Donald Trump and 31% Hillary Clinton. Our neighboring state, Indiana, is 63% Donald Trump and 33% Hillary Clinton. And we're still waiting on some of those swing states to get their votes in, Florida and Georgia. And don't forget, Rand Paul did win the state senator 60%. Even though this is the final election result update for this show, you can keep up with all the final tallies on our News Channel 12 social media on Twitter and Facebook at WKU News Channel 12.
Thanks, Katie. Wearing the I Voted sticker now comes with some perks. Stores like Blue Teak, Macy's, Chuck E. Cheese are giving discounts to voters, while Krispy Kreme Donuts is giving away a free donut for anyone wearing an I Voted sticker. And now we're also living in a time where every moment is captured on camera. That includes casting votes in an election. There were recently an uproar on social media after singer Justin Timberlake posted a selfie on his Instagram, which is illegal in Tennessee. However, if you're in Kentucky, you can take as many ballot selfies as you want. Assistant Attorney General Taylor Payne says that nothing in Kentucky law prohibits election ballot selfies. However, if you are thinking about taking some selfies at the polls, be careful. It is illegal to take pictures of other people voting. Currently, voting selfies are legal in 20 different states, including the District of Columbia.
And now, thank you, Marcus, Katie, Darby, and Alex for being here tonight for the show. Thank you all for joining us for News Channel 12 for our election coverage.
We will definitely keep those Twitter pages and Facebook updated on the show. Have a great night.